Do you currently have debt that you want to pay off this year? Well, I did a poll on my community tab asking what kind of debt do you want to pay off this year? Well, 65% of people stated that they wanted to pay off credit card debt, and 25% of people stated that they wanted to pay off auto loans. Well, y'all, I done had credit card debt and auto loans. Y'all, I had over $11,000 in credit card debt a couple of years back, and I paid it off. And I had a $20,000 auto loan that I paid off in 1 year. Well, in this video, I want to talk about how I went from only making a minimum payment on my credit card debt to using my credit cards for pretty much 85% of my spend and paying it off every month without paying interest. Let's get into it. Now, if you're like me, you like to use credit cards for all of your spends so that you can get the cash back point so that I can use it for trips and other things. Well, if we're using credit cards, we really want to make sure that we're using them responsibly. And that means not having credit card debt or paying interest on credit cards. Well, I want to share a few tips on how I made sure that I was not paying any more credit card debt and paying my credit cards off every month. And so the first tip is going to be one, knowing my numbers. Y'all, I had to get real with my numbers and really understand with the credit cards that I had, how much debt did I actually have? So what I did was I went and gathered all of my statements, and I wanted to find out one, how much credit card debt did I have for each of those credit cards? Two, what was my interest rates and what was my minimum payments? So this can give me a baseline of where I'm at. Now you can also pull your credit report, and your credit report tell you a couple of things. One, it'll tell you what your credit card debt is, but then two, it'll let you know what your credit card utilization is, because I think that is very important. One, if we're trying to increase our credit score fast, that we have to tackle our credit utilization. And so if we have high utilization, then it's going to be hard for us to get approved for credit cards and those high limits. And so if we want to have good credit card utilization, 30% or less, but really I think, and even experience states that if we have 7% or less on our credit card utilization, that's going to be the best. Next thing is, one, we want to cut costs and find extra cash. But the way that we can do this first is by creating a budget. Y'all already know I wasn't going to get out of this video without saying creating a budget, because it is very important. It probably really should have been number one, but we want to know our numbers first. So one, we want to find out how much money we have coming in compared to going out, so that we'll know how much money we have left over, so that we can use that money to be able to pay the debt down fast. But then two, we want to see, okay, this is how much money I have coming in, but is there some things that some costs that I can cut? Maybe, those subscriptions that I have that I'm not using. Y'all, I got this Audible subscription and I'm just like, I had got it down to like $8, but I got so many books that I haven't even listened to. So I'm just like, I really probably need to cut that subscription. Let me know in the comments, what subscription do you need to cut? Now, the next thing is, I've really been trying to not eat out as much, and I pretty much done kicked my Starbucks habit. Y'all, I had went crazy there for a minute and I had to kick that. And so I'm doing a whole lot better with it. Also, if we're trying to bring in some extra money, maybe we can get a side hustle. And then, y'all, it's that tax time season. So maybe you're going to be getting some money back from your taxes. Or let's say if you get a bonus at work. And also, if you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, about 2 to 3 times a year, you get an extra check. So those are all some ways that, when we're getting extra money, that we can throw at the debt. Next thing, what we want to do is we want to choose a payoff strategy, because this is really going to help decide how are we going to tackle the debt. So one, you have a debt snowball, and then two, you have a debt avalanche. And so with the debt snowball, really you have to figure out, okay, am I just really want to motivate myself to get this debt paid off? And so getting and doing a debt snowball is going to be the best way to do it, because really you're going to be taking your smallest debts down to your highest debts and then tackling those smallest debts first. And so what that's going to do is really going to give you motivation to keep paying off the debt, because you're going to see, okay, that credit card paid off, that credit card paid off, and then I'm going to keep on going. Compared to if you use the Avalanche, this is where you're going to take your highest interest rates all the way down to your lowest interest rates and pay off those high interest rates first. Now, this could be a good and not so motivating way, because let's say your highest debts have high interest rates on it. So then it might take a little bit longer to pay it down. It might take a little bit longer to pay that credit card off, but you're going to be paying less interest. And being able to not pay a lot of interest, that's how you can pay more down. So you really have to decide which is the best for you. And for myself, I'm more so of a debt snowball. And y'all, you want to know the cheat code? I'm going to say, in my opinion only, balance transfer is the way to go. Now, the only thing about this is, one, you have to make sure that you know your numbers so that you can see, okay, can I apply for a credit card and I'm going to be able to do a balance transfer for all of that credit card debt? And for myself, I did this a couple of years ago, and I had got the Discover It, and I had transferred over some debt from when I had a credit card with Bank of America. And I was able to transfer that over, and you get about 15 months. And I had paid it off pretty much like 12 to 14 months. And now they have credit cards. I want to say one of the Wells Fargo Reflect, if I'm not making a mistake, they have upwards of 21 months of 0% interest. And that's really good. Now, the only thing about it is that when you are doing a balance transfer, you have to make sure that you are paying it off and creating a plan, because if you don't pay it off, then you're gonna have all that, you still gonna have all that credit card debt, and now you're gonna be paying interest on it. So you just want to make sure that you create a plan so that you can pay it off, within that time. But in my opinion, I definitely think that the best way to do it, and how I did it, was by doing a balance transfer. I would say the main thing, especially with credit card debt and credit card debt on the rise, with interest rates being so high, upwards of 26% or higher, it's better to pay off the credit card debt every month so that we're not paying interest on it. Because especially if we're trying to get those points and cash back and things like that, so that we can travel or, be able to purchase things with the points, we're really breaking even. And so that's why I think it's important to pay off the credit card debt. And I will say, you might not, we might not want to do this, but I know I've done it. Y'all, I had even cut my credit cards. Now, this was some years back, but I feel like this was really the thing that I needed to be able to get in the right mindset so that I could now be able to use my credit cards for pretty much 85 to 90% of my purchases, but then I pay off the credit card every month. So I had did the Dave Ramsey plan, and you have to cut the cards and things like that. And so I was only using cash, and then I tried only using my debit card, and I did that for a little bit. And then one day I was like, you know what? I think I can probably use credit cards again. And so then I just started using credit cards again. But once I started using credit cards that time again, I have not paid interest on credit cards. And especially once I paid that debt off, because I'm like, ain't no telling how many times, the last time I had paid 11,000 off, but I'm like, I probably done paid, more credit card debt off than that before. And so it was just a cycle. But I'm just like, I had to change my mindset. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. But see, at that time, y'all, I wasn't even really worried about the points. I wasn't doing the points and all that kind of stuff. But then probably the last 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer, especially since I've been doing the points, like I don't want to pay interest on credit cards. And so really, once I had cut those credit cards up and then not use credit cards for, it was probably like a year, maybe 2 years. And it was just like I was getting in the mindset and I was doing my budget. That's the most important thing. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore. And so now I'm able to use my credit cards every month and then pay them off. And so you'll have to let me know in the comments, how much credit card debt are you going to be paying off this year? Or are you going to be paying off an auto loan? Well, I definitely hope that these tips are going to be able to help you to be able to pay off the credit card debt and even the auto loans. But I hope that this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, budget. Well, check out my 2025 digital budget planner. I posted it on my Etsy shop. You can go into the description and click on the link. It's not a game.